Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I hope that all of you are doing well, and I hope that all of you are doing great. A very warm welcome from Edureka. Before we start with anything, let me introduce myself. My name is Deepak. I'm an associate trainer with Edureka. I'm holding 15 plus years of experience, and I have delivered more than 50,000 training so far all over the globe. Without wasting any time, let's just get started. So today's topic, as you know, it's basically learning conditional rendering in React.js. So this is the agenda for today. Today we will be talking about conditional rendering in React.js. Post that, we will talk about different methods of conditional rendering. Then we will talk about if-else statement, element variables, ternary operator, short circuit operator, preventing components from rendering. So all these things we are going to cover today. Now, moving on and talking about the journey. If you're highly interested to take the course from us, how the journey is going to look like, let me share with you. So in the very first class, you're going to learn about introduction to web development and React. What is the web development? What is the React? You're going to learn with the practical hands-on. Then after that, in the second class, you're going to learn about components and styling the application layout with the practical hands-on. In the third class, you will learn about handling navigation with routes with the practical hands-on. In the fourth class, you will learn about React state management using Redux with the practical hands-on. And in the fifth class, you're going to learn about asynchronous programming with Saga middleware with the practical hands-on. In the sixth class, you will learn about asynchronous programming with Saga middleware with the practical hands-on. Then in the next class, you will learn about fetch data using GraphQL, which is graph query language with the practical hands-on. Post that, you are going to learn about in the eighth class, React application testing and deployment with the practical hands-on. Then in ninth class, you will learn about introduction to React Native with the hands-on. In the last class, you will learn about building React native application with API with the practical hands-on. At the end, you're going to become a superhero who is going to have a cape of super knowledge. Now, talking about conditional rendering and React.js. So first, what exactly it is? So in React, you can create distinct components that encapsulate behavior you need. Then you can render only some of them depending on the state of your application, depending on the requirement. Like for example, if you are giving an exam, what is going to be the probability? Either you pass or the fail, 50-50%. So likewise, we do this. Now talking about different methods in rendering, like what are the different methods, different opportunities, different ways through which we can render. So we have basically 4 different methods of rendering. First is if-else, second is element variables, third is ternary operators, fourth is short circuit operator. Now let's talk about them a little bit one by one. What is if-else statement? So it's a condition, an if-else statement you can say will execute the actions contained in the if block. When the condition is satisfied, it's going to be executed. Otherwise, whatever the else block you are going to have, the condition is going to be contained in the else block. So for example, if I'm going to say that, this is my condition, if condition is A is greater than B, then do this, else do this. So that is if-else statement. Let me just show you a small example of it. Now in this case, this is your condition you have. In the if, you have this condition. This is the first condition that you have. If your condition is this, then it should return this statement. Like if I'm going to say that A is greater than B, then do this, and then otherwise return this statement. Otherwise, like for example, if A is greater than B, I can say that perform this task, otherwise perform this task. That is something if-else statement we have. If condition is this, else we can have. So we can have nested of if components as well. Okay. Talking about element variables, the second type. What is element variables? What is the use case of having it? So element variables are similar to the approach to extract the conditional rendering into a function. So element variables are those variables which hold JSX elements. You can conditionally assign elements or components to these variables outside the JSX and only render the variable with JSX. Now you can have let variable, under that you can have if condition, and you can have nested of if conditions as well. Let me just show you a smaller way Like here, let variable define the variable name which is going to store the value, like a can be 5, b can be 5. Likewise, the value is going to be stored. Then your condition is going to be evaluated. Based on that, statement is going to be executed. If that statement is not true, then else statement is going to be executed. That's the element variable we have. Next is ternary operators. So the conditional operator is also known as ternary operators. So is the only JavaScript operator which can take 3 operands. So operand is frequently used as a shortcut, to your if statement. Now, for example, you have a question mark. Then you can have a condition, either it can be true or either it can be false. So this is the only one where you are going to have the 3 operands. Now, for example, in this your condition, if condition is going to be evaluated, that condition can be either true. So if it is true, then this part is going to be executed. Else, the last one, expression false is going to be executed. So it can be either true or false. Now talking about short circuit operation. So basically, short circuit evaluation is a technique which is used to ensure that there are no side effects during the evaluation. Like in this case, you can use logical operators A, N, and B. So which will help you to specify, the action, the component, which should be taken only with one condition. Otherwise, it's going to ignore the entire conditions. So you can have and, or, so all the logical operators we have, it supports. Generally, this entire topic is very huge, but based on the given timeline that we have, I'm just telling you a glimpse of it. Otherwise, if I have to go in more detail, this entire topic is very huge. Okay. Now, talking about preventing components from rendering. How basically we can prevent components from rendering? Like, what is the possibility? How we can? What is the use case? So, in rare cases, you might want a component to hide even though it was rendered by another component. To do this, you have to return null instead of the rendered output. So returning null from a component's renders method does not affect the firing of a component's life cycle method. So you can render the objects, render the values depending on your need that you have. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Thank you for so much. An immense pleasure to meet all of you guys. Wishing all of you a great day ahead.